I'm currently working on a literary analysis that focuses on William Wells Brown's novel Clotel. And in the book, there's a lot of subplots and a lot of characters, but mainly I'm trying to focus on the mulatto characters in his book, and specifically how they're treated and portrayed compared to other works of literature around that time period. Around, I believe it's 18 in the 1800s, when slavery was still around, and how William Wells Brown uses this to depict a new side that I hadn't seen before, which is really interesting to me. And specifically, there's the story centers around a family of three, which is Clotel, Cure, and Althesa. And all three of them experienced different kinds of discrimination against themselves from other slaves and from slave owners. Specifically, Clotel, she's basically seen as this beautiful, rare treasure in the beginning of the book, which is really interesting because she's depicted as being pretty much a white woman, although there are small things about her that give away her black heritage. So in the novel, she goes from being seen as this rare beauty to being basically abandoned by her slave owner, who was pretty much her husband. And in that way, she's then cast aside. When she's purchased by another owner, she's made to cut her hair to make her ugly in a type of way, although she's still seen as beautiful. And Althesa, she's basically rescued by a doctor from another slave owner, and he makes her his wife. And Cure actually has an happy ending. She moves to a plantation where the original slave owner who purchased her was a pretty harsh man who used religious aspects to control his slaves. But after that, he dies, and his daughter, who sympathizes with the slaves, she pretty much has them working for their freedom, which is really great. But in my paper, I focus more on on Clotel, Althesa, and specifically their daughters as well, because both of Althesa's daughters, after the death of Althesa and her husband, they're pretty much thrown into slavery because they're seen as nothing more than their father's property, since there was no way that their father and the mother could be legally married, since she was a slave and he purchased her. So specifically, we see how they kill themselves when they find themselves enslaved because they can't handle it, because they never had to be slaves. And this ties into the stereotype that mulattoes were weak, that they were weak women, that they needed white men to save them or to tell them what to do. And then another stereotype that plays in well to the story is Clotel, because Clotel is basically playing into the stereotype, not exactly in the way that it would be in other novels, but basically that she's pretty much seduced all the white men with her beauty, and she has Horatio rescue her and pretty much marry her. So when he casts her out, she falls into despair and dies. So that follows that classic stereotype there. And well, Mary is the only one who really breaks from the stereotype that's seen in other works of literature, which I thought was interesting because it's pretty much Brown's unique look on it, that she escapes and she gets her freedom, and she even eventually reconnects with the lost love. So that was pretty much Brown's little twist on that, not fully diving into the white stereotypes that white writers use, or their classic tropes, which is particularly interesting to me. I think that's all I have to say about that. Thank you.